Great. Well, hi, everybody. My name is Cortney Nicolato, and I have the absolute privilege and honor of serving as President and CEO of the United Way. And thank you and welcome to our very first episode of Community First Conversations. For 95 years, the United Way of Rhode Island has been focused on strengthening the state and the community, and we want to make sure that everyone has an equal chance at a bright and prosperous future. But for all too many Rhode Islanders, unfortunately, it's easier said than done. Every day, especially through the COVID-19 crisis, we have heard and seen Rhode Islanders reaching out for help. That has inspired us to start this weekly web series, which we're thrilled to launch with you today. Community First Conversations will feature our local heroes, like three that you'll hear from today, who are serving for the common good. In these episodes, you'll hear stories of hope. I hope you'll find inspiration in these stories. And we'll make sure that there's also a call to action for you as well. We want to hear your ideas too in this weekly series. So please go to the United Way of Rhode Island's social media platforms, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and others, and tell us what you want to hear. So today we're talking food insecurity. Before COVID-19, 11% of Rhode Islanders were what's called food insecure, meaning that they were unable to afford adequate food for their family. Nearly 5% of Rhode Islanders experience hunger, which means they're missing meals. They're compromising their health. So think about an older adult who's making a choice between medication or food. Think about a child's lack of ability to focus or concentrate in the classroom. Food affects everything. So today we have three amazing individuals who are joining us. Meghan Grady is the Executive Director of Meals on Wheels and a former United Way board member, might I add. Meals on Wheels of Rhode Island is the only nonprofit home-delivered meal program in the state and continues to serve thousands of meals each day. Meals on Wheels has been delivering since 1969, so just recently celebrated a very big milestone. Meg was appointed on June 24th, and I'm pretty sure she's sprinted ever since she's walked in the door. And before that, she was the Chief Operating Officer at the YWCA for nearly 8 years. Rosa Amoros Jones is the amazing Director of the Office for Healthy Aging. Rose was appointed in that position on February 25th of 2019 by Governor Raimondo. Her advocacy efforts and to strengthen her advocacy for cheering and doing everything for older adults is inspirational, and you'll hear a lot about that today. Her focus has been on older Rhode Islanders very much throughout her career, including transportation, healthcare, wellness, and food security. She is also serving a critical role right now in the COVID-19 crisis, specifically as it relates to food insecurity. We're thrilled to have Rose. And then Andrew Schiff, our President and CEO of the Rhode Island Community Food Bank. Andrew has served as Chief Executive Officer in that role at Community Food Bank since May of 2007. Before that, he was the Assistant Director of Project Bread, the Walk for Hunger, a statewide anti-hunger organization in Massachusetts. Also incredible roles at Jewish Family and Children's Service in Boston and others. So we have the experts today to talk about food insecurity. So thanks everybody for joining. I'm so grateful y'all are here.
I'm happy to be here.
Thanks.
Having us, Courtney.
Good. Well, cool. So let's start with you, Andrew, if you wouldn't mind. You know, we talk about this 11% of folks who are food insecure, and that was pre-COVID. And so talk to me a little bit about what the food bank is seeing and maybe how that has changed since COVID has landed in Rhode Island.
Well, many more families are experiencing food insecurity. What's happened since the beginning of this health emergency, as you all know, is that thousands of people are out of work, and they have quickly run through their savings, and they've had to turn to us for food assistance. And, you know, Cortney, you know, because of all the calls that have been coming to 211, 211 has done an amazing job trying to keep up with this volume of people calling, and then making sure that people are connected with places in their community, food pantries and meal programs where they can get help right away. And that's been ongoing now for weeks, and every week we see this need growing.
Yeah, and Andrew, you're completely right. The call volume for 211 has gone up 3-4 times its daily norm. Over the weekend, we took about 900 calls on a Saturday, and normally our Saturdays are 140, 200 calls. And so, and the calls are getting more dire and more anxious, because of the length of time this has been. 200, I think it's 200,000 Rhode Islanders are currently unemployed. That is about 1/3, a little bit less of 1/3 of our workforce in the state. And so food is very much a concern. And so, Rose, talk a little bit about, you have taken on this leadership role for the state around food security. Talk a little bit about what's going on with the state's response.
Yeah, so thank you, Cortney. I'll just zoom out a little bit because it's a bit broader than food insecurity, but this is a huge piece of the work. Under the governor's direction, what I have taken on, I actually wear 2 hats in this response. One, of course, continuing to be as the Office of Healthy Aging Director and making sure that older Rhode Islanders who are at a heightened risk, certainly a good portion of the population, a heightened risk of severe COVID illness, making sure that they have everything that they need during this time. But then also more broadly, thinking about how we support all Rhode Islanders who find themselves at stay-at-home order right now, and certainly those who are ordered onto quarantine and isolation. So that's making sure that they are as comfortable and as safe as possible in the home, right? And a big piece of folks being able to stay home and, comply with these types of orders is ensuring that they can get access to food. And again, we're all in the same storm, but we're definitely not in the same boat. And so we have to have really a mixed prong approach to making sure that people have access to food. So very early on, in fact, Rhode Island was the first state to do it, we surged emergency supplies into the state. And I cannot thank Andrew Schiff and the awesome team at the Community Food Bank enough for being our community partner on that front to make sure that we could leverage the existing distribution channels. Our major strategy when we look at food and supplies delivery, even housing, when we looked at it, the full, need, if you will, that folks might have, our number one strategy was to surge resources to steady state programs, right? The programs that will exist long after the crisis is over, just making sure that they had the resources that they needed in order to surge, given the increased, need at this time. So that's true when we looked at the Community Food Bank. It's true when we looked at Meals on Wheels and other programs in the community that are amazing community partners year-round. And during this time in particular, came in clutch to make sure that we could meet the need out there. So Meghan was in touch very early on. Andrew was our key partner with emergency distribution. All of our senior centers, community centers, over 26,000 daily meals being delivered in this state is incredible, right? And not one agency can do that alone. Not one state, agency can do that alone. So it really has been a true village approach to get it done. 3 million pounds of food. I hope I'm not stealing your thunder here, Andrew, but 3 million pounds of food since early March, 40% increase over this time last year. It's incredible the amount of need and the amount of work that has gone in to ensuring people have what they need right now. And again, that's a piece of it. It's housing, it's the social supports that people need as life has changed and gone virtual. Not everyone has access to technology or fluency in technology. So ensuring that people have that, ensuring that people are safe in the home. Home is not a safe place for all. So a lot of violence prevention work and awareness has been going on during this time. So again, big team effort. Really glad to be here and talk about all the great work that these two folks and so many others around the state are doing.
Yeah, we're so grateful for your leadership, Rose. And, I have always adored since the minute we met your can-do attitude. And that has been necessity for this, right? And the other, another person I appreciate her can-do attitude is Meg Grady. And, Meg, you, I'm not exaggerating to say, you have sprinted since you walked in the door at Meals on Wheels. And, our vulnerable population is so grateful for your leadership. And so talk a little bit about the folks that you serve. What are you hearing? What are you seeing? And what has that meant? What has this meant for the response for meals?
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Cortney, for this opportunity. It's great to be on the call with Director Jones. I mean, here at Meals on Wheels, we can't do what we do without the support of the Office of Healthy Aging, and the Rhode Island Food Bank is a great community partner in our work. You know, this has been a challenging time for everybody. You know, at Meals on Wheels of Rhode Island, we're much more than just a meal. We're a life-saving safety check and an opportunity for socialization. So when we think about our clients, you know, their feedback to us is, first of all, they've been incredibly grateful that there has not been a disruption in our service, and there will not be a disruption in our service moving forward. You know, people have said to us the Meals on Wheels volunteer is the only person that I'm seeing right now. So, you know, we really are proud to be doing our part. We can't do what we do without our volunteers, who are truly delivery heroes right now. And again, they're proud to be doing their part, you know, to make sure that our seniors are getting a nutritious meal, the safety check, and the opportunity for socialization. So as a community, I know that Director Jones always talks about our village. You know, we've been so lucky to get the support of senior centers, of volunteers, of municipalities, to make sure that we can continue to do what we do, but also surge in this time of need.
Yeah, and you know, I think one of the things, did I hear a rumor that you were using RIPTA buses to transfer food? Was that a thing?
So, yeah, we are leveraging innovative community partnerships.
Amazing.
Scott Avedijan had reached out and sort of said, you know, you guys are on the road, we're on the road. Is there a way that we can work together? So RIPTA has adopted 2 of our delivery routes in Pawtucket. We also have AAA Northeast. They've adopted 5 of our delivery routes. So, I mean, we've had over 500 people that have reached out and said, how can we help? And so we're just so grateful that the community has been behind us.
You know, one of the things I've been so inspired by through this process is the community's ability to say, what do you need? And step up. And it has been so amazing to watch. You know, as you guys know, on April 1st, we hosted 401 Gives, and our focus really was just to help build and talk about the impressive work of the nonprofit sector. We didn't realize the timing and all of that would happen the way that it did, but I left that day just so humbled by not only folks giving of their treasures, but giving of their love and pride of for being, you know, doing anything that they can to serve. And that's what it's about. That's what community first is. That's why we call it community first, because it takes all of us, right? It takes everybody to step in. And I know you guys, all 3 of you, lean so much on volunteers and on donors and on state resources to make the magic happen. It's a necessity that it's not just one, it's many. And so I think it's been a true testament to that. So, you know, Andrew, talk to a little bit, not everybody knows how the food bank works, but specifically your network, and can you share a little bit about kind of the structure of the food bank and how you get the food out into the community?
Sure. So we're the hub of the charitable food distribution system in the state. We have 168 partners all across the state. We are in every community. These are the organizations that are running the food pantries and meal programs. And our job is to make sure that they're stocked with the food they need. And that's been particularly challenging now as the number of people has increased so fast. They can't predict how many people are going to be showing up for food. And they never, the programs that work with us never, ever want to turn anyone away. So they've been on the phone with us, calling, letting us know when they're afraid they're running out of food, and we've increased deliveries and made sure that we're keeping them fully stocked. That's been the challenge over the last few weeks. And the programs and the people who run those programs across Rhode Island have been phenomenal. They have had to switch around what they do because of social distancing guidelines, making sure that volunteers and staff are kept safe. At the same time, people who are coming for food assistance are kept safe. Some of our agencies have even developed these sort of drive-through food distributions. They never did before. They're all figuring out new ways of doing things. Many, when they've heard about somebody in the community, a senior adult who's not able to come to the food pantry, they're helping by delivering groceries. It's just been amazing to watch how people have tried to, adjust their programs overnight.
Innovation's been real, right? I mean, it's been unbelievable to see how quickly we've been able to iterate and innovate to respond.
Yeah. If I could also weigh in there, one thing, again, looking at this kind of broad population and back to that point about not everyone being in the same boat, where we were in the same boat in the beginning of this is when this tidal wave, if you will, first hit us as a global community and certainly nationally. A lot of the systems and the services that many of us take for granted every day, like being able to one click to Amazon and get things the same day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Reset our expectation around like speed to delivery, right?
Yeah.
And so those systems completely crashed in the wake of this as everyone was surging to them. Literally a 200% increase in online ordering of groceries in a given week. And the systems were not developed for that type of a surge. The workforce wasn't there to provide for it. So what we had to really scramble at the outset to do, and thankfully we have such a strong food ecosystem in Rhode Island, that better position than some other states to say, how can we stand up to, and really to Andrew's point, how can we rethink business models at the local level, the local independent grocer, the local nonprofit? Like, how can we rethink how we operate in order to fill the gap that is left by the big box? Because what became readily apparent to us from the beginning, how reliant we, just like so many people around the country are on those big retailers. Mm-hmm. And those, services are not available as readily as they used to be. We're like, oh my God, what do I do? And it really meant that we had to kind of shift our behavior. When I got into this work, and this is probably because I'm a former marketing exec, I like to do my market research. So I was on self-imposed quarantine for 6.5 weeks. I didn't leave my house. I barely left this room. And I just stitched together everything that I needed by virtue of delivery and family networks. So it was really hard at the outset. But now what we've done is not only stabilized, that supply chain and stabilized, not us personally, but nationally, those things have been stabilized. But at the local level, we've now increased capacity across the whole system and filled gaps like the availability of culturally appropriate emergency foods, thinking about a partnership on a statewide level to do that. Like, we're filling in gaps that I think are really important to acknowledge, that it's not just for this time, it's actually making us stronger for the long haul. And that in our mind from the very beginning. It's like, how do we surge to meet the need now? But how do we take this as an opportune time to make us stronger, make the changes that need to be made, or make the enhancements, invest in the enhancements that make us stronger in the longer term?
Right. Because this will require us to, this is long term, right? I think, we know there is no vaccine, there is no cure, and so especially for our older adults, we need to have solutions that are available over the long term, right?
Exactly. And I mean, Andrew will keep me honest in this statement, but when we make it easier for restaurants to offer marketplace offerings, for example, like grocery items, when we make it easier for farmers and local fishermen to sell directly to consumers, and when we make home delivery available to SNAP recipients and ordering online available to SNAP, that's good for us long term. That's good for the whole ecosystem in Rhode Island.
Huge economic benefits. I would like to say I have thoroughly enjoyed the fish wholesaler. That has been amazing. Yes. Every Fridays in my neighborhood is when they show up. And so that's been great and a little treat for us to end the week, that's for sure. Meg, talk about older adults. What are their fears? I think one of the things that I've worked with older adults in my career in the past, and to your point earlier, the gratefulness is amazing. And, they are so abundantly supportive and just grateful, and they will cheer you on every step of the way. I remember I had an older adult who was telling me I was doing a great job, and she gave me a little mint. to tell me I was doing a great job. And I just like adore her. But, you know, so many older adults are doing so many great things, but you know, I love your volunteer structure. And so talk a little bit about your volunteers and what they're seeing, and, you know, how are they, you know, what are the issues that our seniors are concerned about? And I'll ask probably Rose to fill some in too.
Yeah, so, you know, we talked a little bit in the last question about being flexible, about being patient, about being innovative. Early on, we realized that, you know, or we already knew that our volunteer workforce was almost exclusively made up of older Rhode Islanders. And so that was an immediate thing that we had to plan for. You know, many people reached out and said, hey, I'm just going to take a break from my volunteerism. I'm going to stay at home. I'm going to put my health first. And so we had to work hard early on to make sure that we had all of our volunteer routes covered. So the first couple of weeks, you know, things were a little crazy. But when it comes to the challenges that we're hearing from our clients, you know, people are asking, like, how do I keep myself safe? We have done everything we can do to make sure that our seniors, our volunteers, and our team members are safe. You know, health screening, we've been following all the CDC guidelines around hand washing, hand sanitizer, masks. We've been practicing social distance as a part of our meal delivery. And so that's a way that we've had to pivot and tweak our services. We operate 9 capital city cafe dining sites right here in the city of Providence. Those have now been transitioned to home delivered. But, you know, I think the biggest challenge, and I'll defer to Director Jones on this, is the isolation and loneliness. People want to know when they can go back to seeing friends and family, when they can return to their senior center. And so we have been promoting the project Hello to our seniors to help them stay connected while they're home. So I don't know, Director, if you want to add to that.
Oh, absolutely. You were going exactly where I was going. But I will back up just to say that, you know, in our world, when we're talking about older Rhode Islanders, we're talking about people who are 55 years and older.
Correct.
So it's not just, we can't really paint the population of older adults with one broad stroke, because the folks are dealing with the same things that you and I are dealing with, right? And right now, when we're all in stay-at-home orders, we're all feeling a bit isolated. No one, and this came up, Catherine Taylor and I of Age Friendly Rhode Island were talking about this recently. No one is feeling absolutely okay right now, right? And if there's any blessing in the burden of this moment, and you know, it's that we're starting to talk about that. Like, hey, we're all really challenged around what this new norm is going to look like. It's taking all of us to come through it and sharing our stories and sharing our struggles in that. So in one way, I think, you know, folks' concerns are the same concerns that we could share right now, right here. And then there's folks who are homebound, right? And face that struggle every single day and only have that one person coming into the house. And it's really important that they continue to have that. And it's also really important that things like Hello Project, which is meant to be a tele-buddy program, you know, it's really important that maybe a vetted volunteer give you a call once or twice a week to check in, to say hello. You know, again, I don't know that that is age specific in my mind, because I know a lot of folks who are just home and isolated right now and really could use that. But we know that it's particularly important because right now, particularly for older adults, because there is a good number of that population that continues to have this social isolation going on, and we want to make sure they feel connected. I think for some folks, it's also a bit more challenging because as you get into the older population, you don't have the same tech savviness as, you know, us are on this call, we get on Zoom, we see each other's faces, not the same. I can't give you the I want to give you, but at least I can look at you and love on you for a little while. Folks don't have access to do that. They don't know how to do that. They wouldn't know the first thing about trying to get onto a Zoom. So we're really trying to even rethink in the world when you don't have a senior center that you can go to and have a meal, how do we on a statewide basis do a virtual senior center and provide the technology, because it's no good unless you have the tech, right? Provide the technology and the training in order to make that possible, because again, building with the future in mind, that helps us right now, but that helps us long-term, Meg. Again, you'll keep me honest in this. If folks are staying home past this crisis, it's wonderful. They can virtually connect to someone, right? And we can help them. We can help them with that. So, yeah, Hello Project is huge. I hope folks volunteer. You go through our wonderful partner in United Way. You call the point. and you get connected to Hello Project. So it's a great one.
No, it is. And you can call The Point or call our 211 line. We both have, both programs have information at their disposal, ready to give you all the good information on how to join Project Hello. I love that. And, social isolation was a challenge enough with our older adults already before COVID, right? And many more older adults want to age in place. They want to live in their homes. And so being able to provide these programs is going to have, again, long-term benefits rather than short-term, I think. So very, very cool. Yes, go ahead.
Well, so one of the things I just wanted to add is that, we're talking about community on today's call, and Meals on Wheels, we were always working with the food bank, we were always working with the Office of Healthy Aging, we were always working with United Way. But in the last couple of weeks, I don't think a week has gone by where I haven't either heard from all of you or a member of your team. And so I just want to recognize that the way this sector, our work has come together, the way that people have been reaching out, supporting each other, it's like if I need something, I can call Andrew, I can call Jen. When we were building our surge infrastructure at the beginning of this, Director Jones spent hours on the phone with us, helping us make sure that we were prepared. United Way has been amazing with the philanthropy work that you've made available to our community. And so I just think that, in a lot of ways, this has been a challenge, but we're all going to come out of this stronger. And I think that's important to know.
There's no question. No question. I think, we have been unbelievably fortunate. I think the nonprofit community and our state government partners, we have always had a really good open conversation, and we bounce ideas off of each other. I love my coffee dates with Director Jones, that we get to talk and solve all the problems.
All the problems.
But and same thing, there's been a number of different cases that, I'll have somebody come to me, say, can United Way do this? I'm like, that's Andrew. Let me call Andrew. We'll get it done, and so I think that this continued collaboration in our sector and with our partners is just amplified. I've been nothing but proud through this. And so let's talk about that. What have you been inspired by during these trying times? What has brought you joy as you literally have been spending day and night serving the community? So anyone could answer.
I mean, the generosity of Rhode Islanders has really been inspiring, and everything from the United Way and the Rhode Island Foundation, what you were able to do for us, what just folks who thought that it would help to be able to send us $10 have made such a huge difference and shown how much people care about their neighbors and how much they want to do something. And people just absolutely want to be able to contribute and act and show that they're part of a caring community where everybody should be able to have the food they need. They should be able to stay safe and healthy. I mean, I think that maybe that doesn't seem remarkable, but every day that has gone by that I've seen it happening, I've been inspired.
Such a great point. And just to piggyback off of that, Andrew, when we partnered with the Rhode Island Foundation on the COVID-19 Response Fund, a couple of days before we announced it, we were talking with the companies and various different, United Way prides that we work with 400 different companies in their corporate social responsibility. I called CEOs on Saturdays, Sundays, and these are folks that run large companies in their state who are were trying to figure out what COVID meant to them and their workplaces and all that. And it was like, of course we're going to give. Of course we're going to participate. Come back again. I'm like, awesome. Like, it was just no questions asked. And it was because of the power of community, right? And the generosity of the community. So I couldn't agree more. How about you, lovely ladies? Any thoughts on what has inspired you?
Oh, I have so many things that have inspired me as I've been living this 25/8. I would say first and foremost that character is revealed in crisis, right? And the character of this state, the of the team, and I use that word as broadly as I possibly can, the quality of our village. It is unbelievable to me. And this goes right back to what you all were saying, but I need to just echo it. Every call that I have made, there hasn't been one person, and I've made a lot of calls, one person who has said, nah, I'm sorry, I can't do that right now. You know, every single person within their capacity has been like, I am here. Yes, maybe I can't do this, but I could do this. Like, let's figure this out. We are in it together. There have been folks come forward that you would have never thought, for example, would be delivering food right now to people. And they are, right? And that's what's making 26,000, and that's just going to increase in the weeks ahead. But that's what's making that possible every single day. So it is the quality and the character of this state. But I will also say, in terms of what's bringing me joy, is I mentioned that I've been on self-imposed quarantine now 6.5 weeks. It hasn't always been easy, but I will say that it's always been a blessing. The amount of time that I have been able to spend with my children and help kind of guide them through these really uncertain and scary times, you know, I think it's just been wonderful. The amount of people that I see safely distancing, but walking on the community and actually talking to people and
love that
human connection and disconnecting from their phone. It's those things that you're like, wow. Yeah.
And I feel like the world needed to pause.
Yes.
Right? Because we were like this, just constant moving. And I feel like this has made us pause. And in such a good way. Now, I will, in full self-disclosure, I have running shoes on right now. I have suit up top. And the dog is right off my shot. And I love that. And my kids are upstairs and they're learning. And there's just something really, really wonderful about the ability that's afforded us. So I agree wholeheartedly. How about you, Meg? What's inspired you?
You know, just the number of people that have gotten behind us. We've had over 500 volunteers reach out to say, how can I help? And there's volunteers that we've been able to then transition to senior centers that needed the help with what they were doing. And so, you know, that's been huge. Someone stopped by 500 masks to make sure that all of our volunteers had a mask.
Awesome.
You know, hand sanitizer. It's like every time we felt like we could have a gap or a need or a blind spot, what we needed then presented itself. And so we're just really grateful that people have gotten behind us and that we can continue to do what we're doing.
Oh, that's awesome. And so my last question for all of you, and then I'll let you off the hook, but I can't, I'm so excited. This is exactly what we had hoped our community first conversations to be. So thank you. Is what can viewers do for you today? What do you need? If you said, I got one call to action for you, what is it?
So
I would refer a senior to our services.
Yeah. So the very first thing I would say is, if you need help right now, if you're struggling with anything, you need to reach out, right? So that's everything from I need food, I need some housing, I'm not feeling well, I need some guidance, I'm not safe in my home, no matter what it is, we need you to reach out. We need you to call the point 462-4444, 211. We need you to reach out and get connected, first and foremost. And then secondly, I would say if you are able, then I want you to volunteer for Meals on Wheels, Community Food Bank, and all the wonderful nonprofits we have in the state. I want you to donate to them generously if you can. I want you to get behind this team that is literally day and night thinking about how to keep Rhode Islanders safe.
I love it. How about you, Andrew?
What she said.
So let's do real quick, Megan, how can folks reach out?
Visit our website, rimeals.org. Find us on Facebook or Twitter. We'd love to stay in touch.
Great. How about you, Andrew?
rifoodbank.org. Same, we're updating our response to the COVID-19 emergency all the time. Come see what we're doing, check it out, and we'll have plenty of ways for you to help.
Great. Rose?
What they said, plus call the point. Visit us online at oha.ri.gov. Just get connected if you need it and give if you can.
And I often say, and I'll say again, you may think what you can contribute is little, and it's only a small amount of time or small dollars. It is more than you realize. And so your time, your talents, and your treasures are necessary right now in all ways, quite honestly. So call your favorite nonprofit organization and say, what do you need? How can I help? Those calls make a huge difference. Visit them on their website. Reach out to them in some way, shape, and form. If you don't ask, it doesn't happen. And so also, you know, we're just so grateful for y'all. Thank you for being our first guest. Thank you for taking the journey with me. If you have questions or want to join and learn more, please reach out to us at liveunitedri.org or on our social media channels, which is also Live United RI. We will be posting these on Friday at noon. And so we will be asking for questions prior to. Some of these will be recorded, some of these will be live. Next week, we're going to be talking about housing, another critical issue, and a critical issue here in the state of Rhode Island. And so we'll have a number of great community leaders and advocates talking about the housing crisis here in the state and what you can do to support and remain community first. So again, thank you so much, and thank you to each and every one of you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.